Hey everyone, my name is Jason and welcome to Working Class Music, and I am pleased to be reviewing the Strymon Night Sky. This isn't the Night Sky. This is the Night Sky. Originally I wanted to break this review kind of first impressions into two videos, and we may still do that. I don't know, probably not, who knows. The Strymon Night Sky is new for 2020, and with everything going on, this was a welcome surprise. I want to be very transparent with everybody. I would like to thank my friends at Strymon for sending me out a Night Sky to try out. Really appreciate it. Save me some cash as far as reviewing this. With that said, that's not going to influence my opinion on this. If I like something, I like it. If I don't, I don't. I've gotten a few pieces of gear in the past through my job where it's just like, I don't like this. And it was free. Big ups to Strymon, really appreciate it. But the big question that we want to answer is, who's this pedal for? If you are a big fan of Strymon and you love their reverbs, you may be wondering, who is the Night Sky for? We do have the Big Sky to kind of give an idea, and we have the Night Sky that we're going to test out and let you hear a couple of sounds. Be forewarned, this is kind of my noodling around with it, if you will, and getting you a couple basic sounds. We're just going to do a little bit of comparison because these are two vastly different pedals. And in my opinion, they're for different folks. Not to say there isn't some overlap, because if you love soundscaping and creating different textures, I feel like this is going to be the one for you. But let's hear what this sounds like in comparison to this, and what you may want to figure out on your own if this is something you'd want to get, or get both. Not a bad option. So today, for demoing the Night Sky, we'll be using a not Fender but Orange 73 Reverb Twin. It's a twin reverb. Not really, for lawsuit reasons. And as far as the guitar goes, we'll be using a Squier Classic Vibe Jazzmaster in Shell Pink. Also, admittedly, it has been modded. It does have a Mastery Vibrato assembly, and it has antiquity pickups. The pick guard came from a 67 Jazzmaster. I have to throw those facts in because I don't want anyone being like, well, that's not a stock Squier Classic Vibe. You know, just have to be transparent with that stuff because, you know, people in the comments will roast us. So, with that out of the way, I'm not even playing guitar. I already had the loop recorded. I forgot. So, one of the cool things about the Night Sky is it has an 8-step sequencer. So you can get some really cool ambient textures. So we have our loop going. And that's just the 8-step sequencer. Now, one of the cool things you can do is it has the decay feature, which you have the texture and the quantize feature. If you hold down the quantize button, you can change the pitch. And another cool thing about the quantize feature, you can take it to a smooth, so it's smoother, or it does it a half step. So that's just a basic sound from the Night Sky, what it can do. Now, a cool feature that Strymon has added to this is the infinite hold. This is a very complex pedal. So we'll just go over the sections of it. You do have a mod section, which you'll have 3 different layers. You have your verb, you have your pitch, and you have your filter. And on the other side of that, you'll have your shapes, which is going to be like your general square waves, sine waves, all the different waves. So if you're a little bit of a synth guy, that'll definitely help you with that. In the mod section, you have your speed and your depth. Your random, which will do a random little noise, or random little wave shape, which is what we got going now. Or you can, change the shape on that. Do like an envelope. you can get a little bit weird with it. Now, on the target button, where on the mod setting, where the speed is, you can adjust it and get a little bit more weird with it. So if you like the Radiohead and more Ed O'Brien's type textures, this is a really awesome setting. Also, we do have, you can change the pitch. Now on to the decay section. Your decay section is going to have two knobs, which is going to be the length and the size/pitch. Now on the texture side, you're going to have sparse, dense, and diffuse. Now sparse is going to be more of a typical spread out type of reverb, if that makes sense. There's the dense. And there's the diffuse. Now if you want to quantize it and kind of change a couple things, like make it a scale setting, you can do that. Or you want to smooth it out, because the ladies like the smoothness. Now we're going to go to the tone section. Your tone is going to have two controls. It's going to be the low cut and the high cut. Like a regular high or low cut, it's going to cut the high or low frequencies, so you can adjust that accordingly. And in between that, you're going to have the filter. And the filter is going to give you either a regen or a low pass sound. Let's take the low cut out of it. Turn the high cut back up. And go back to regen. So again, some really cool sounds. I'm really loving how this thing is sounding. Now we're going to go to the voice. So with the voice setting, you're going to have a couple of different cool things you could do with it. You do have the glimmer, which is just a high and low shimmer. So you can control that frequency, and you can do some really cool sounds with it. And then when you're using the shimmer, you could use the interval to change it. Also, you have a drive section, which is pre or post. So that's pre and that's post. Now, other than that, the main control on the mix section is just going to be a dry and wet. Wet is basically just going to be the amount of reverb. So it's the amount versus the dryness. And you can blend them for some really interesting tones. When we turn the dry up, you get more of the original signal. And now when we turn that down, just the signal completely with reverb. No dry signal is heard. So if you're in the ballpark to kind of just get more spacey and more interesting, this is definitely going to help. Now keep in mind, the independent dry and reverb is something that the Big Sky does not have as far as the knob function goes. So you can easily blend the two with the reverb turned all the way up and the dry turned all the way down. The guitar essentially disappeared and you're just getting a fat, wet sound.
Wet ass reverb?
Yeah. Wait. You're getting a WAR. A wet ass reverb. Please don't sue me, Cardi B. Also, I should say that you also have a favorite setting. You have 3 buttons. So you can hold down this for the sequencer as such. Basically, once the sequencer is on, like a keyboard, you're just going to have a little 8-step going up or down, however you choose. But on this, it's going to be a little interesting. And you can hold the morph button down. So now that you heard a little bit of the Night Sky, what we're going to do now is compare it to the Big Sky. Because a lot of the questions that people seem to ask is, will this replace a Big Sky? And we're going to answer that. We're going to start with the Big Sky because I have a couple ambient settings that I really like. And one of the big things, wow, pun intended. So we're just going to do a few of those because this isn't really a demo for the Big Sky. It's just so you can compare and get the idea. So here's a drone sound that I like to use in creating different soundscapes. The cool thing about those features is different sounds like that you can save on the Big Sky. So if you want to have a preset save, you only have one favorite on the Night Sky versus 99. So that's something you should consider when we're trying to figure out who is this for. That was the Big Sky. Now let's hear something similar on the Night Sky. So yeah, you can get a couple of the same sounds, but if you notice how different they sound tonally. Keep in mind, that's going to be a big difference. So, to answer the question, who is the Night Sky for? I think it's for the guitarist who loves explosions in the sky, slow dive, this will destroy you, who wants a thick ambient reverb. That's not to say that the Big Sky isn't for that same guitarist, because it is. But this kind of gives more flavor and a bit more control over what you can do, and you can really shape some nice ambient tones. If you're choosing between the two, I would say they're two amazing pedals, but if you want something you can program a bunch of different sounds in and just have everything at your fingertips, I would recommend, I'd go with the Big Sky. Just because of the type of person that I am, I'm not a shredder. I like to create different soundscapes, and before the Night Sky came along, I had the Big Sky, and that was enough for me. The Big Sky will get you there. It'll get you all the sounds that you need, and then some. But if you like to experiment, I would recommend the Night Sky. That's not to say they're exclusive to one type of player, because they're not. You could get both, and you can get some really interesting sounds. I personally prefer both. If you're a gigging musician and you just need to get into the sounds that you need and you want something that's going to be super simple to use, then the Big Sky. But if you want a pedal that is very complex, it's going to be the Night Sky. It's definitely the Night Sky. That's not saying one sounds better than the other, because I don't think that's true. I think they both sound equally good, but they're for different purposes. I'm now sitting down, and if you ask yourself, why is he sitting down? And you're hoping that we're going to do some keyboard sounds, we got a treat for you. So we plugged the Nord Lead 2X. I wonder if it's 210. You ever wonder about that stuff? You know, like with the iPhone, it's the iPhone 10. Besides that, we were plugging the Nord Lead 2X into the Strymon Night Sky. So without further ado, conclusion, the Night Sky is a brilliant pedal, and as you heard on both, if you like different sounds and like different textures, it's going to be a pedal that serves you well. That's my initial first impression of it. It's an amazing sounding pedal, and I recommend everyone get one, especially if you love Ed O'Brien. Again, I'd like to thank my friends at Strymon for being so kind to let me do my first review ever on the Night Sky. If you like what you heard or don't like it, like, subscribe, comment. This is Jason. This has been Working Class Music. I want to think of a catchphrase, and I think that's where we're going to end things. Think of a catchy catchphrase that you'd like to hear me say. Thank you, and good night. Thank you. Yeah, thank you at the end is just so fucking weird.